Okay, hi everybody. Thanks so much for making time to join us this afternoon. We'll be going over the gala, and there's quite a lot of things to go over as a group. So I know some folks cannot make it today. So hopefully for the folks who cannot make it, you can rewatch this recording, and things will make a lot more sense than if it was just in an email. So let's begin. Okay, so like I mentioned, a lot of things going on here. So I'm just going to go down the list, and perhaps you all can kind of help me out here. I know some of the core team members who can really help us in moving forward with some decisions are not here, but that's okay. We'll work with what we have. So in terms of community awards, so this conversation has been brought up before, last year, and I'm sure in previous years before even I joined the team, you all have done community awards like the Local Hero Award. Um, and I believe last year there was another award. I don't quite remember the title. But essentially it's also deciding, like, do we want to have awards or the community awards presented at the gala? Um, if not, that's okay too. We can always present it like in a separate kind of like award ceremony. But I think specifically for the gala, do we want to move forward with presenting the awards at the gala? And if so, then following up that would be questions such as what would the awards be? Who would the recipients be? And also who would be able to take lead of this initiative? So, Wayne, I think you're probably the most familiar with this. I just joined about like a year ago. So, in the past, have you all always done community awards at the galas, or is this kind of,
So always no. Recently, yes. So at the last maybe two or three, we started doing that. And mind you, well, maybe four. I mean, going back to maybe a year or two before COVID,
okay.
that's when we started doing that. But you got to remember, we were doing the gala, aka the Comedy Jam, which its original name goes all the way back to like 2007. So,
Oh, wow.
or
Okay.
maybe not 2007, but pretty far back. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's something relatively new. I believe it started out with one award, and now I think we're looking at two separate awards.
Yes.
I think one's more an honoring, and another one is like um, involves like cash for students moving on, transitioning from high school to college. And I do know I was talking to Vernon, and I think yesterday that subcommittee met to go over who the recipients are going to be.
Mm.
And from what I remember, there was only two qualifiers. Well, Vern's here now; he can talk about it.
Perfect. Hi, Vernon. Can you hear us? Oh, I think you might have cut.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Vernon. Thanks for joining us. We're just on the first agenda item regarding community awards. And so I'll just kind of backtrack a little bit. So we're just talking about how, do we want to have community awards presented at the gala, such as, like, for example, the Local Hero Award. And also, I forget which award we gave out to Dr. Smith last year, but yeah, so hearing what Wayne was saying, it seems like presenting like these community awards at the gala is kind of a new thing. It kind of started 2 to 4 galas ago. And then it started off with one award. Now there are 2 separate awards. And it seems like you all had a subcommittee meeting where there were 2 qualifying recipients that were selected. Has it been official? I'm not sure.
Yeah, typically that was it. So we're kind of moving. So the idea is that we would move the community honoring for like our American Indian community or people in our community like unsung heroes to
Mm.
the November 1st meeting. But this would be like a separate honoring for like a politician or something to get people to come to the event type thing, for people who have money. So I think Hedda and I were thinking Blanca Alvarado to be one of the award recipients for this year.
Okay. You said their name was Juan
No, Blanca.
Blanca.
Blanca Alvarado.
Okay.
At least that's one person we had in mind.
Lindsay, there's a correction for recipients.
Uh-huh.
Vern, I was talking about your subcommittee meeting yesterday. Was that for the grad schools?
For
Yesterday morning, 9 o'clock.
grad schools.
Was that for the kids graduating high school going on to college?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a different thing.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So this is referring to the scholarships, correct?
The scholarships, yes.
Okay, the scholarships is separate. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that, Wayne. I'll take this off then. But in terms of recipients, Vernon, you said that you all seem to have reached a consensus on Blanca, and was there somebody else?
No, nobody else, but that's just who Hedda and I were thinking of right now, but nobody that hasn't been confirmed.
Okay.
That was just a name we were thinking of. There could be other people.
Okay, and what award were you all thinking of nominating Blanca for?
Yeah, we would need to think of that too. We would need to come up with a name for it.
Oh, okay.
Community, like Community Achievement Award or something like that, or Community Legacy Award. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but we didn't have, a particular name in mind right now.
You said some ideas were Community Service Award?
Sure, that would work too.
Okay, so it seems like this is still kind of like a pending area. Okay, so perhaps maybe in the following month when we meet in end of May, is this meeting that you're having with Hedda and perhaps with other folks like a reoccurring thing? Or
No, this is just talking about stuff on the side.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, well, I guess perhaps maybe like I'm not exactly sure usually how you all select or nominate somebody, but I guess I'll leave it to you all to decide however you want to um move with the process. But I just wanted to make sure that, if we do decide to do community awards, that we like order the prize, the award. I know last year we gave out like a blanket and then like also a nice like glass plaque, things like that.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure that, if we are going forward with it, that we just make sure we have those items in on time.
Yep, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can revisit this item then next month. Hopefully more folks can join us too. So yeah, not a problem.
That sounds good.
Revisit meeting. Okay. And also just to circle back, Wayne, you bring up a really good point about the scholarship. So I met separately with Vernon, Anasita, and Hedda. And it seems like we wanted to move forward with perhaps creating like a digital story for the scholarship recipient, but we're not necessarily going to present them or like make a segment out of, the presentation of the scholarship recipients at the gala. We're more so going to, celebrate them during like the American Indian graduation on May 10th, but we're not necessarily going to like have a big focus at the gala.
So their scholarship should come off the agenda?
Yeah, I was just going to type up kind of like the notes just to update folks that like that was kind of what was decided. Yeah, but do you have any questions about that?
Nope. If it's off, it's off.
Yeah, okay.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yes, we will.
Well, let me ask you this. Are the proceeds for this event paying for this digital story and all that other stuff?
I am not sure. Vernon, do you know?
Yeah, it should. Everything, related to it. So with the scholarships, it's just going to be like kind of like an honorable mention type thing, Wayne, at the gala. It's just going to be like,
we are gonna say something.
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
We're just going to recap it. we're just going to
Yeah,
recap.
that's
We had this event earlier in the year, and these were the two scholarship recipients of our awards from college, and these are the folks. It's just going to be really quick, like 30 seconds, 1 minute each person at that.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Wayne
So,
Scott
but
got this Sherry LeBeau scholarship, and he'll be attending Santa Clara University. We wish him the best of luck, type thing.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool,
It's just gonna be real quick, nothing long.
as it should be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. I think Vernon explained it a lot clearer than than what I
Okay.
was doing. So yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
I
sorry.
thought we
Yeah.
threw scholars. I thought like the Indian graduation committee was taking that whole thing on,
Yep, we are.
but Gala's paying for it.
No, Gala's not paying for any of this graduation stuff, Wayne.
Oh, okay.
But,
Well, there
but
you go. But
yeah,
we're still gonna mention it.
yes, exactly. It's just gonna be like an honorable mention type thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Do you have any other further questions about that, Wayne?
Maybe we should just note that under the subheading for scholarships, in parentheses, honorable mention.
Yeah.
So that there's no talk, off to the side about, and then I want to do this, and then I want to do that, because we're not really doing any of that. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yes.
But we are going to need to develop the program, because we need to know where in the lineup that part's going to take place.
Yes, that's correct. And I'll go into more details about like the program and just kind of like other things that are kind of going to affect the timeline of the program in just a little bit. So
Sure.
we'll get to that. Okay, so moving on to the auction. So seems like last time we met, folks said, yes, we want to do an auction, but no baskets, no small items, mainly 3 to 5 big ticket items donated from Native artists. And Q, I think you can kind of go into this a little bit, because I think you brought up this idea last time, which was, yourself and some artists that may be willing to donate some big ticket pieces. Is that still the case?
I would say so. I just need to communicate with them and see what they're willing to donate. I know myself, I'm totally up for it. But yeah, I have a few people in mind I can contact.
Okay.
You just signed up to oversee silent auction items, right?
I guess so.
Donate big ticket pieces. Is everybody okay with the quantity? Like, 3 to 5. I know last year we had a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of them, from my knowledge, did not get auctioned off. So, is everybody okay with like 3 to 5 big ticket items?
As
I'm,
far
I'm,
as
I'm
art,
fine with
okay.
that in principle, pending cost. Because, you got to be a little realistic about what we're going to, start the bidding on these things. If we want them to go, we don't want to come home with them. So depending on what we're asking for, the starting bid for each one of them is, as long as that's realistic, then, 5 on the high end is fine. But if we're, if we're looking like $10,000 for this piece, do we really need 5 of those? You know what I mean? Hey, Dr. Tola, can I call you back after this meeting? Okay, maybe around 2:00.
Mm.
Gotcha. And Q,
Okay.
did you have some feedback as well?
Oh no, I agree. I agree with what's being said. I mean, me personally, I don't like plan on making it like super high end, like price wise.
Mhm.
Just so we have like some variation or like options for people who want to donate. But I think that's a good amount. 3 to 5.
Okay. Vernon, any feedback here?
No, I think that's good too.
Okay, great. So it seems like the folks here at least want to stick with 3 to 5 big ticket items. And Q, perhaps by next month when we meet, if you have any updates on, your network, yourself, of any folks who may want to donate some big ticket items, please let us know. I know sometimes it can take, quite a bit of time to work on a piece. So yeah, just let us know. Okay.
Sure. When would you need these turned in or like have set like by? Because I know it's in November, right?
Yes, it's in November, so I would probably say, because last time we did post the items onto social media as well as our web page.
Mhm.
I would say probably 2 months, maybe 2 months. So probably by September, like beginning of September. That way we can really get people excited, post it on social media, post it on the web page, and
Okay. Cool.
Someone else have a comment? I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Ready to display. Let's just say
Lindsay, do you have a place to store this auction items once we take possession?
Oh, that's a really good question. Thanks for bringing that up. So I know that, well, I'm not sure necessarily if storage would be the best place for like art pieces. Um,
Wayne's office is open.
With that big old window that's been broken once, right?
yeah. I guess for the pieces, maybe perhaps the artist, this is just an idea that I'm thinking of, like maybe perhaps the artists themselves can hold on to it until, like the week of the event, but we would just need photos by September 1st. But that's a good question. Where would we house them?
I mean, considering all of our space, our
Yeah.
our office space dilemmas we have right now.
Yes, I'll highlight this. We can definitely revisit this. And I'll put that, perhaps an idea is, having
Another thing that we will need to do is and these kind of and this kind of ties into the big ticket items. Is, we do need to do the special events form for insurance, and I'm wondering, as we're having that conversation with them about the event, do we also tell them about these big ticket items? Because maybe we want to get special acknowledgement for them just in case something happens before the event. I mean, it's not the end of the world if something happens to them prior to the event, if insurance is reimbursing them to us for cost. You know what I mean? But if they're not covered and something happens, that's a real loss.
That's true. Yeah, any ideas here, folks? Of course, like, we don't want anything to happen to the items before.
It's really for me on my side, on the compliance risk management side.
Yeah.
It's really a matter of getting an acknowledgement from insurance that here are the photos of the silent auction items or housing and administration, and then when we get the certificate of insurance for the event, we also get them to acknowledge the description of the pieces, maybe, if they'll do that, because then that's where our property insurance would probably reimburse us if something happens to them.
I see. Okay.
And then the gala gets paid.
I see. It seems like you're more well versed in this. Would you like to? So, what are, I guess, the next
I
step?
can champion that.
Yes, I think, yeah, I'm definitely not the most fluent with, the insurance, things like that. So, yeah, if you can spearhead this piece, please do.
Yeah.
I guess, perhaps Wayne and Q, you all can, separately talk about, what would be, what forms, things like that, what is needed then for the item, since it seems like there is a special events form that would need to be completed.
Okay.
Yeah, the special events form is probably going to come from you and Hedda. And
Okay.
what I would do is I would take that form and then, add the side, or maybe even before you even do that form, I'll have a conversation with our broker and to see what's possible, what's not, and based on that conversation, then either we make edits to your special events form, or we don't. We just let it go as is. Because it could I would imagine that anything under our roof would be covered in terms of personal property. We do have our limits though. So if we did leave it in the conference room, for example, overnight and something happened in the camp, but if we had a fire or whatever, then we would get reimbursed for it. So we would need a declared value and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say declared value should be our start bidding amount. So let's just say, item one we were gonna start the bidding at $2,500. I would declare that as the value.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but again, I just want to reiterate, I don't even know if this is doable. Just, bright idea that I'm having here.
Okay. Well, perhaps Q and Wayne, you all can talk about that, since of course, Q, you're helping us with reaching out to your network and seeing if any artists would be willing to donate any pieces. Yeah, I think probably the both of you should definitely communicate about that, just to make sure that, if any artists are willing to donate, that they're also aware of these like terms, and that they would have to, that
they wouldn't have to do anything. It's really all on our side, and all I would really need is a title for whatever the item is, and a description basically of what it is, at a declared value for each one. And then they may ask for pictures, because they usually want supplemental stuff when we're submitting special events forms like flyers and whatnot. So whatever advertisement you have for the gala, but we'll need to attach that to the special events form anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm thinking, and again, I just want to say it one more time, don't know that we can pull it off, but the reason why I'm thinking of linking, or at least partially linking coverage for these items to the event, is because there's also the transportation from our site to the event site. And then what happens at the event, like someone spills wine all over a painting or something, ruins it. We want it to be covered.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, and I think that's why it would be important for you two to like communicate. Also, like, of course, there's like not too much that the artists themselves would need to do, but in terms of providing photos and essentially like the starting, like the declared value, essentially the starting bid, like those are probably items that that the artist would be able to answer, that I wouldn't be able to answer them. So yeah, I think we can definitely revisit this next month. That way, Q, you have some time to reach out to your network, see if anybody, who would be, able to donate. And then that way also, like, Wayne, you can have some time to, I guess, determine the process.
Yeah, so once you know what's what, just send me an email. Laundry, just the laundry list. These are the things. This is what they're all about. This is the declared cost. And this is basically, we're going to use our bidding price, our starting bidding price, whatever that's going to be. And you can ballpark it, because we don't know. It's all arbitrary. So whatever feels good in your gut, and we can start there and go from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Q, do you have any questions?
Okay, I'm going to place you guys on hold for a minute.
No questions for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Awesome. All right. So moving on. So for the tasting, really excited to share, but we do have a scheduled tasting with a caterer who is also they are an approved caterer over at MHP. So they're called Catering for All Occasions. It seems like they've been, catering for quite a lot of nonprofits in the area. So they gave us a pretty decent quote, and they are providing us with a complimentary tasting on May 9th from 3 to 4. It will be, from what they said, come with an empty stomach. And this is the location. If you can join, please let me know no later than May 1st. That way I can also inform them so that they know how much food to make. Yeah, but in terms of the quote, I'm going to go over that with you all. And this is essentially the biggest question of today's check-in, which, it's kind of hard to, like, I guess, take a final vote or like a final decision without everybody here. But essentially the biggest thing here is, I know that we wanted to do a sit down dinner, plated dinner and everything. However, with like our current timeline, what our caterer has advised us is that it will pretty much take about 2 hours to kind of wrap up like a plated dinner sort of experience. And also something to keep in mind too is that with a plated dinner, you also need to, there's definitely a lot more foot traffic because, if like the server gets like, the meal wrong for one person, they'll have to go back and, of course, we hope that everything will be perfect in terms of having a name tag with like the selected protein, things like that. However, what they were, really suggesting is that rather having a buffet style might really fit our needs a little bit more, especially with our timeline, and also B, to really mitigate that issue of like foot traffic. Like if someone's presenting and stuff, we can definitely tailor the program to be more so like, okay, this segment, is for welcoming remarks, speakers, etc., and then we'll, dismiss folks to go grab their food and they can mingle and everything like that. With, a sit down, it's kind of more likely that there will be kind of, someone may be like listening and then, they may get interrupted. So that was something that they did bring up. In terms of the buffet style, it would really probably fit our timeline a little bit better since we're allotting for 6 to 7:15 essentially for the dinner. They said that usually for a buffet style, it probably can wrap up within 30 minutes. And also that way we don't have to necessarily take on the responsibility of making sure that, the name tags and the protein, like it like matches. And if anybody like, wants to customize, their plate, perhaps if they don't necessarily love, the protein that they chose and they want to try something else, they would have that flexibility. In terms of the quote, I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a moment here. In terms of the quote, this quote includes details regarding not only the dinner, but also the VIP after party. So this quote currently includes everything from dinner, after party, the, little accoutrements, like, plating, yeah, pretty much everything that, we're kind of looking for. So what the quote looks like, to go over everything, is this quote is for a sit down dinner. So $15,799.49. If we do decide to go with, say, a buffet style, this cost would go down about $1,500. So just wanted to get your feedback here. And also with the folks that are here, it would be really great to kind of, I guess, reach kind of like a vote as to what we want to do. Do we want to go with a sit down dinner and completely change, the timeline and, and everything? Or do we want to perhaps maybe consider a buffet style and keep our current timeline. And feel free to give your feedback.
Done both.
What's that, Wayne?
We've done both over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm indifferent.
You're indifferent.
More concerned about what the food might be.
Yeah.
But I mean, given COVID's still in the air, I don't know, with a bunch of people touching stuff.
Oh, and just to clarify too, for if we do like a buffet style, it seems like they would have staff present to facilitate that the whole process.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it wouldn't be like you self-serving yourself necessarily.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems like Wayne is indifferent. Seems like you're open to both. Vernon?
I like the plated style myself. Just,
Okay.
the name Gala, kind of implies, like, for me, kind of like something elegant,
Hmm,
and when I think that, I don't think buffet style.
got it. Okay.
That's just my thinking, though.
Okay.
So I would prefer plated.
Okay. All right. Q.
I'm open to any option, to be honest.
Okay. Seems like we have a hard decision here. Okay. All right. Well, I think perhaps what we can do then, since, of course, we don't have everybody here, is we can all do like an email vote, I guess, to essentially decide, like, taking a look at the pros and cons of both options. What do we all collectively decide on? And if we decide to go with, and since we don't have like a final conclusion today, I'll hold off on releasing any sort of comms marketing material. Essentially, we wanted to release it by today, because, end of April, we kind of wanted to release it a bit earlier. But since not everybody's here to, like, vote necessarily, I'll release like any comms materials talking about the gala in the next week. That way we can have some time to do like an email vote. Okay. In terms of the tasting, though, if you would like to join us, please do. May 9th, it is a Tuesday, 3 to 4. So it's definitely a later lunch. It's over in Santa Clara. So if you can join us, please do. And please let me know by May 1st if you can attend. That way I can also let them know how much food to make. Any questions here?
Nope.
Okay. The next thing, so for the comedy show, so currently since we haven't necessarily made a final decision whether we're going with buffet style or sit down, this is currently still kind of like in the air, because obviously if we do a sit down dinner, it will change essentially the entire timeline. So Vernon, I know that you were originally talking about having 1.5 hours for the comedy show. Taking a look at our current timeline, and this is like a current timeline if we were to say like stick to what we originally wanted. So it seems like with the time that we allotted to be in the theater, we have about 1 hour and 15. And this is kind of like splitting like minute by minute, like what each segment will cover. So a land acknowledgement, a brief welcome, and then also like an agency video, which would be at most 5 minutes. Jumping into the cultural presentation, which Anasita is leading, and then it will transition to the comedy show. So what I'm currently seeing is that we'll probably have about 1 hour or so for the comedy show, anywhere between 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on, how long essentially the dinner will take. So yes, so
So
yes, go ahead.
no, it's all sounds good, but I would do the land acknowledgement, that video NC, and the CEO welcome. I would do all that at the gala, at the dinner. There's no need for it to be at the comedy piece. The comedy piece should just be that cultural presentation and comedy show.
Okay. I think so. I think what Hedda was mentioning to me was that because some folks won't be at the dinner, some folks will be joining us like for just like the comedy show and the VIP after party. I think that's why he was saying that perhaps the land acknowledgement, the CEO welcome, and the agency video would be re-show um, at in the theater. But what you're suggesting is to take out these three segments and just jump directly into the cultural presentation.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, if you're coming to the comedy and you miss that, then you do. Let's just.
Got it. I will make a note here.
I mean, we can talk more about it, but that doesn't make sense.
Are you saying it should happen like at the dinner piece?
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we get into the theater, it's like, let's do the cultural presentation and then get right into the comedy. And don't break up the comedy. Just have the comedy keep going.
Yes.
The three
yes.
comics, one after the other, nothing in between.
I see. Yeah, if we do that, it will definitely free up quite a bit of time. It'll free up pretty much 15 minutes.
Yeah, because we're paying a lot of money for the comics to come in. Jackie wants 1,000 and she's doing 10 minutes. And then we got Nick coming in. We got Nick and Dean both coming in from LA. So, Nick's asking 3,500, Dean's wanting 6,500. So it's like we got to try to maximize our time too with them,
Yes. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay. Well, yes, let me bring that up then to Hedda regarding that. And so for the three comedians, Jackie will be going up for 10 minutes. And how about Nick and Dean?
Well, it depends now. Dean usually goes for 45, and I was going to have Nick go for at least 15 or 20. But I mean, if we keep this stuff in there, then it's going to greatly reduce their, routine.
I see. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. I can see your vision a lot better now. I'll bring this up to Hedda. And yes, I guess this can also be like an emailed vote as well, along with like the dinner. Any feedback from you, Q?
I think it makes sense the way that they want to present it.
Meaning like just the cultural presentation and comedy, or
yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, good to know. In terms of the, some parts that we can move forward with is Vernon, I did receive Jackie's bio and photo.
Okay.
I haven't received Nick's or Dean's. So if you could reach out to them and just like have them send it to me by May 5th, that would be great.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll give it a try. I know we could probably get Nick's. Dean is actually still up in the air about even coming because he has something else going on. So he might not even be our headliner, but he's going to try. But I'll definitely get Nick's to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. I did tag you as well, so you should have received an email ping just as a reminder. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. In terms of the comms team, then it seems like, since we haven't necessarily decided on the dinner, as well as also the timeline of the theater piece, I'll hold off on releasing anything related to the gala until we have that finalized. So let's aim to have, these things kind of more solidified by next week so that, we can make the announcement. And also because between May 5th to May 10th, usually we also release the agency newsletter. So, just want to get more publicity out there so that we can really make that announcement. And, get it on people's calendars. I did send to you all the comms plan a while ago, just for any feedback. I didn't receive any feedback from you all, so I'm assuming that it looks good to you all. But yes, in terms of the Eventbrite and Facebook event page, things like that, all of these avenues will essentially lead to an internal web page on our website that will have all the information for the gala. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And then lastly, this was kind of the timeline that what I understand, taking on everybody's feedback over the last couple weeks. So it seems like right now the comedy show is tentative. Like there's some edits that will probably need to be made. Seems like doors will open at 5, or no, ushers and cultural presenters should arrive to the lobby by 5 p.m. The doors will open for guests by 5:30. Dinner will be 6 to 7:15. And then allotting like a 30-minute transition from dinner to the theater. I know like it's very close by, so originally we talked about 15 minutes, but Hedda suggested that perhaps 30 minutes, just in case if folks decide to like chit chat, things like that. And also considering the fact that we'll probably be having guests join us who weren't at the dinner, so just allotting a little bit more time here. So it seems like with that, it would lead to the comedy show and cultural presentation taking place from 7:45 to 9. And then from there, 9:15, again, just kind of allotting time for transition. Transitioning out of the theater, probably the after party will start around 9:15, go till 10:15, and we'll make the announcement for folks like to essentially go home. And then attendees will probably depart around 10:15 to 10:30, and then we'll have pretty much an hour and a half, 10:30 to midnight, to break down. Any questions here? Any feedback, suggestions regarding the timeline? Besides, the removing these 3 segments.
You have a breakdown crew?
The breakdown crew will be the staff with MHP. I know that for the caterers, I believe they're bringing their own staff, so they will be doing their own breakdown.
So is there anything for IHC staff to do?
I'm not foreseeing anything at this moment. No.
Gotcha. Okay.
We might need to put up signage or something like that, but that's easy stuff.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Wency, is we need to decide if staff who are working the event or who are going to be there, are we going to eat beforehand, or are we going to like reserve 1 or 2 tables in the back for us? So
yeah, that's something we've done in the past.
Yeah, so in the past, when when we were over at Campbell, we the last few galas, we had staff sit at 2 events because we had a lot of space. There's not a lot of space in this glass room at Mexican Heritage Plaza, so we're gonna need to figure out, does staff eat first beforehand, and what is that? Or do we, like I said, we reserve 1 or 2 tables in the back and have the plated dinner?
Got it. Okay.
My suggestion would be is that we eat beforehand, not with everybody else, and it doesn't have to be the plated dinner. It could be something else on the side, like spaghetti or something. It doesn't need to be anything great, it's still something to eat. This way we can dedicate a lot of our time to other things that come up, because things will come up.
Yes, that's a really good point. Okay, so it seems like we have a couple of questions. One is, does IHC staff need to help with breakdown? Will IHC staff eat prior to the event? Should we move forward with theater only having cultural presentation plus the comedy show? And also the big ticket question is, will we have sit down or buffet style dinner? Okay. Any other questions, feedback, anything else? No? Okay, great. All right, so we are scheduled to meet on usually the last Fridays of the month. So we have about, a month out to kind of figure out these questions and action items. I'll send out this recording to you all and, have folks essentially take a vote on the catering as well as the timeline and also the theater piece, what we want to do. Essentially, do we want to keep these 3 segments or remove them? And then I guess we'll go from there. I think that will really determine, that might change some of the core messaging as well for like the marketing pieces. So yeah, everything is like working in full circle with one another. I'm going to stop recording now.